Hi, welcome once more to Mr. Maths. In this lesson, we are going to revise from September 2020 Free State Province. Okay, September 2020 Free State Province. That is question number 4 and 5, graphs and functions section. Okay, question number 4 and 5, September 2020 Free State. Let's start question number 4.1. The sketch below shows the graph of f with the turning point p2, 8 and passing through the origin. So there is a graph drawn there. So let me draw that graph first. Okay, then based on that one I will explain the remaining things. Okay, so this is the given graph, and based on this one here you can see that there are two graphs. One is f of x and the other one is g of x, a parabola and a straight line, and the turning point is given as 2, 8. The turning point of that parabola is, that parabola quadratic graph is 2, 8, and here this is the intersecting point. This is one intersecting point of both f of x and g of x. Okay, and p is a turning point is also an intersecting point. So there are two intersecting points. One is at a and the other one is at p, and you can see that p is a turning point also of that f of x graph. Okay, so this is the given graph, and based on this is the x-axis. This is the x-axis. So this point b is the x-intercept. Okay, and 0.0, this origin is another x-intercept. Okay, so x-intercepts are origin and the point b. Now based on this one we have to answer the remaining question. What is the first question? 4.1.1. what is that question? Prove that the equation of f is y is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. So you have to prove that the equation of this f of x is, what do you want to prove? Prove that f of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. This is what you want to prove. Prove that f of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. So how can you prove this one, guys? Now, this is a f of x is a quadratic equation. For a quadratic equation, you studied a formula like this: f of x is equal to a into x minus p the whole square plus q. Am I right? This is a general formula for a quadratic equation. Okay, so in this general formula, this is a general formula for a quadratic equation, one of the general formulas. Okay, so in this general formula, what is this p and q stands for? P and q stands for the turning points, is it not so? Okay, so here in this quadratic equation we know the turning points are 2 and 8, because it is given that the coordinate of p is 2, 8. So it means that the value of p and q are 2 and 8. So we can substitute y, f of x is the same as y. Y is equal to a into x minus 2. We have to write it as minus. When here it is minus, the turning point is positive 2. You remember that one. Okay. Then plus, here there is no change. Q, there what is the value of q? 8. So here x minus p, the value of p is 2 and value of q is 8. That's this p and q are the turning points. Now we have to find the value of this a. Am I right? So how can we find the value of a? We have to substitute any other point on that parabola. So look at this point. At this point it's the origin. That means 0, 0. So substitute 0, 0. So because that point is a point on that parabola. Okay, so I'm going to substitute y as 0 is equal to a into x. X is 0. Both x and y are 0. 0 minus 2 the whole square plus 8. 0 minus 2 means 0. 0 minus 2 is minus 2. Minus 2 square. Minus 2 square, that is positive 4. So 0 is equal to 4a plus 8. Take this 8 to this side, so it is minus 8 is equal to 4a. So divide both the sides with 4. So what is answer? 4 cancel, and the answer is A is equal to minus 8 divided by 4 is minus 2. So it means that the value of A is minus 2. Now we have to substitute back in this equation. Therefore, y is equal to A. A is minus 2 into x minus 2 the whole square plus 8. Okay, expand this bracket. So y is equal to minus 2 into, so how can you expand this one? You know the formula, a minus b the whole squared is equal to a square minus 2ab plus b square, that formula. Okay, so like that, a square, first term square, here the first term is x, so it is x square minus 2 into first term into second term, 2 into x into 2, 2 into 2 is 4 into x, 4x. Okay, then b square, second term square, what is the second term here? 2 square, 2 square is 4, so that is expansion of x minus 2 the whole square. Those who wants to know more about this one, you have to watch algebra section. Okay, then plus 8. So here this is y is equal to minus 2 into, we can expand the bracket like this, minus 2 times x square minus 2 times minus 4x minus 2 times to that FOIL method. Okay, so minus 2 into x squared is minus 2x square, minus into minus is positive, 2 into 4 is 8, then x, I'm expanding the bracket. Okay, minus into plus is minus, 2 into 4 is 8, then this plus 8. So here you can see that this minus 8 and plus 8 we can cancel. So what is the equation now? Y is equal to minus 2x square then plus 8x. What we want to show, prove that f of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. Did you get that answer? Minus 2x square plus 8x. Okay, so that is question number 4.1.1. now let's move to the next question, 4.1.2. okay, question number 4.1.2. 4.1.2, what is the question there? Determine the coordinates of A and B. So A and B, you have to find the coordinates of both A and B. Okay, so before that, what is the equation of this quadratic f of x? We got f of x as previous question, f of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. Am I right? F of x is minus 2x square plus 8x. Okay, so now do you know g of x? Yeah, look at the question. G of x, the equation is given, so let me write it here. F of x is previous question we got it as minus 2x square plus 8x, and g of x, it is given in the question. What is the equation of g of x? It is given 2x plus 4, that straight line, the red graph. Okay, 2x plus 4. F of x is minus 2x square plus 8x and g of x is 2x plus 4. So let me erase this one. Okay, now that point A, this point A is the intersecting point of both f of x and g of x. Am I right? So this point A is the intersecting point of both A and B. So at this point, both the graphs f of x and g of x are equal. So what we can write? At A, f of x is equal to g of x. So what is f of x? This one. So minus 2x square plus 8x is equal to, what is g of x? 2x plus 4. 2x plus 4. Now we have to simplify this one. So minus 2x square plus 8x, take this one to this side, so it is minus 2x. Take this plus 4 to this side, so it is minus 4 is equal to 0. I took both of these one to the left side. Okay, 8x minus 2x is 6x. So minus 2x square plus 8x, I mean sorry 6x. 8x minus 2x is 6x. So this one is 6x. 6x minus 4 is equal to 0. So divide throughout with minus 2. Okay, divide throughout with minus 2. Divide by minus 2, divided by minus 2, divided by minus 2, divided by minus 2. Okay, so this minus 2 and this minus 2 cancel. So it is x square plus divided by minus is minus. 6 by 2 is 3x. 4 by minus is plus. Okay, 4 divided by 2 is 2 is equal to 0 divided by minus 2 is 0. Now we have to, this is a quadratic equation, we have to factorize that one. So what are the factors, guys? X multiplication 1 2 sum minus 3, so it is minus 2 minus 1, minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2, minus 2x minus 1x minus 3x. Okay, so it means that either x minus 2 is equal to 0 or this one is equal to 0. X minus 1 is equal to 0. X minus 2 0 means what is x? X is equal to positive 2. X minus 1 is equal to 0. Take this minus 1 to the other side. So x is equal to positive 1. So x is equal to 2 is already here. Look at the coordinate of P. What is x value here? 2. That is also a point of intersection of both the graphs. That is why here we got the value of x as 2. Okay. So another point of intersection is this one. So what is that one? X is equal to 1. So it means that at this point the value of x is 1. Okay, because so it implies that the value of x is equal to 1. Now how can you find the y value? We have to substitute in any equation. Let's substitute here in the small equation. G of x, y is equal to, what is g of x? 2x plus 4. So here if you substitute, y is equal to 2 into what is x? 1. So 2 into 1 plus 4. So y is equal to 2 plus 4, that is 6. So it means that the coordinate of y is, the coordinate of a is 1 comma 6. Okay, so that is the coordinate of a. Now we have to find both the coordinates of a and b. So what is b? B is the x-intercept. Am I right? Now we are going to find the x coordinates of b. Okay, so those who didn't write this one, pause the video and write this. Okay, now that point b is the x-intercept of f of x. Am I right? That point b is the x-intercept of f of x. Okay, so what is the equation of f of x? F of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. That is the equation. Okay, and this point is the x-intercept. So you know that at x-intercept, what is the value of y? It is 0. Okay, so now we have to find the x value. Okay, so at x-intercept, the value of y is equal to 0. At x-intercept, the value of y is 0. So just substitute. This is f of x is y. Y is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. So y is 0. 0 is equal to, okay, so let me write it like this. Minus 2x square plus 8x is equal to y. Y is 0. Okay, so now take minus 2 as common factor. So what is remaining? Or minus 2x you can take as common factor, is not so? So you can take a minus 2x as common factor. So minus 2, 1x is common factor, so remaining one more x. Then here it is minus 2. So here we are supposed to write minus. Don't make that mistake. Minus into minus is going to be plus. So here we have to write minus. 2 is out. So from here 8 2 out, it means that it's 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus times minus is plus. X is already as a common factor. So it's x minus 4 is equal to 0. So it means that either minus 2x, either this one is 0 or this one is 0. So either minus 2x is equal to 0. So it means x is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So what is x? X is equal to 4. So which one is possible there? X is equal to 0. Can you see that we are trying to find the x-intercept? Can you see x is 0, x-intercept? So the other x-intercept is x is equal to 4. So it means that it implies that x is equal to 4 is the x in the x value of this b. So here it is 4. Okay. So the coordinate of, therefore coordinate of a is 1 comma 6 and coordinate of b is 4 comma 0. Okay, so that is question number 4.1.2. Now we have to move to next question 4.1.3. Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 4.1.3. 4.1.3. What is that question? Determine the values of x. So it means that you have to find the values of x. Okay, and what is the condition? F dash of x. F dash means first derivative. Okay, f dash of x into g of x is less than or equal to 0. So you have to find the values of x where f dash of x into g dash of x is less than or equal to 0. Okay. Now, how can you find this one? Find the values of x. X means this is the x-axis. So you have to find the values of x satisfying this condition. Okay. Now, what is the equation of g of x? Before I try to start that one, this question, what is the equation of g of x given in the question? It is given that g of x is equal to 2x plus 4. Am I right? Okay. So this g of x is the same as y is equal to 2x plus 4. Okay. Now I'm trying to find this point also. I know this point it is 0, this point it is 4. Okay. Now I want to know what is that point. You know that point, this point is the x-intercept of that straight line. Is it not so? Okay. This point is the x-intercept of that straight line. So this is the equation of the straight line. How can you find the x-intercept? You know, at x-intercept, value of y is equal to 0. So if you substitute the value of y as 0, y is equal to 0 is equal to 2x plus 4. So take this 4 to this side. So it is minus 4 is equal to 2x, or x is equal to, divide both sides with the 2. So minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. So what is the coordinate? Therefore coordinate is equal to x value is minus 2 and the y value is 0. So now you know that minus 2 comma 0 means this x value is, here it is minus 2. You understand? So I'm trying to find the x-intercept or the x value of this g of x, the straight line. Okay. Now let's start. So before you continue watching this question, you have to write this one. Okay. So how to find the x-intercept of that g of x. Okay. So now let me erase this one. Now look at the given question. F dash of x into g of x is less than or equal to 0. What is the meaning of less than or equal to 0? Less than or equal to 0 means negative, is it not so? Okay. So if you want to get the answer as negative, okay, so here both, either the first number must be, first one is positive and the second one is negative. Positive times negative is negative, or negative times positive is also negative. Negative times positive is negative. Okay. So now look at this g of x. Okay, this f dash of x I will explain after this. Look at g of x. When can you say that, which one is g of x? This straight line. Is it not so? Okay. So when can you say that g of x is positive? When can you say that g of x is positive, and when can you say that g of x is negative? G of x is positive means when it is above x-axis. G of x is positive from here. This is the x-axis. Okay, this one is the x-axis. So g of x is positive means above x-axis. That means here g of x is positive. Okay, g of x is positive because there it is above x-axis. Then g of x is negative below x-axis, that means here g of x is negative. You understand? G of x is positive above x-axis, g of x is negative below x-axis. Now look at this f dash of x, that is also important. Okay, so f dash of x, in a calculus section you studied, if it is a cubic function, okay, assume that this is f of x, a cubic graph. Okay, so when can you say that f dash of x or the first derivative is greater than 0? When can you say that? When the graph is increasing. Here you can see that the graph is increasing. Okay, so up to this point first derivative is greater than 0 or positive. When the graph is decreasing, here can you see that the graph is decreasing, that means f dash of x is less than 0 or negative. And here again the graph is increasing, that means f dash of x is greater than 0. Okay, so when a graph is increasing, the first derivative is positive. Here also you can see that the first derivative is positive, but when a graph is decreasing, the first derivative is negative. Okay, now look at this one. You have to understand here, this we are talking about f dash of x. Here f dash of x, here what about f of x? Is it increasing or decreasing? From here it is increasing, am I right, up to this turning point. So when the original graph is increasing, what we studied in theory, the first derivative is positive or greater than 0. That means here the first derivative is positive. Don't think about below x-axis or above x-axis, because now we are talking about the first derivative. So when the graph is increasing, the first derivative is positive. Then after this turning point, what about the graph? It is decreasing. That means the first derivative is negative throughout here. Okay, so when a graph is increasing, first derivative is positive. When a graph is decreasing, first derivative is negative. Okay, now multiply these two graphs. Okay, here this dot means these two graphs are multiplied. Okay, so we want one positive and the other one negative, or negative positive. One positive, other one negative, or negative positive, like that. Okay, so now look at that graph. What about that graph where one positive and one negative? Look at this one. This point is x value is -2. Is it not so? So before, let me draw a line passing through that -2. Okay. So before this -2, look at this, before -2, g of x is negative, f of x is positive. That means negative times positive is negative. That is what we want. Am I right? Before this before -2, how can you write? When x is less than or equal to, why it is equal to? Because here it is equal to, that's why. Okay, so when x is less than -2, here this side it is less than, am I right? Here -3, -4, that is less than. Okay, so when the value of x is less than -2, one graph is negative, other one is positive. Then what happened after -2? After -2, look at this one. This is positive, this is also positive. Positive, 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 up to this point. Am I right? Positive times positive is positive, but we want negative answer. So we can't take this point bit after -2, because this is positive, this one is also positive, 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 up to this point. Okay, at this point, what is the x value? That's the turning point. Turning point, the x value is 2. Okay, so at this point, the x value here it is 2. Then after that 2, so let me draw a line like this passing through that 2. Okay, after that 2, what is happening? Look at this one. This is positive, but this one is negative. Positive times negative is negative, and x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so the second answer is x is greater than or equal to positive 2. When the value of x is bigger than 2, it is positive, I mean negative. Positive and negative, negative. Okay, so there are two answers: either x is less than or equal to -2, or x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so you can write it like this also. In some schools x less than or equal to -2. Some schools you wrote it like this: minus infinity less than or equal to, I mean not less than or equal to, less than x less than or equal to -2. And this one, how can you write? 2 less than or equal to x less than positive infinity. You can write it like this also, or you can write it like this also: x is an element of minus infinity to -2. Okay, and x is an element of 2 to positive infinity. You can write it like that. You don't want to write all of this one, any one form you can write. Okay, so when x is greater than 2, one is positive and the other one is negative. Positive times negative is negative. Okay, and we want the negative answer. Okay, so these are the two answers. Okay, that is question number 4.1.3. now let's move to the next question, 4.1.4. Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 4.1.4. 4.1.4. What is that question? Determine the range of f of x plus 1 minus 1. You have to write the range of f of x plus 1 minus 1. So look at question number 4.1.1. Okay, there we got the equation of f of x. What is the equation of f of x? We got not in minus 2x square plus 8x form. Before that one, we wrote the equation, the same equation like this also. You can check that answer: minus 2 into x minus 2 the whole square plus 8. Check question number 4.1.1. we wrote the equation of f of x like this. Okay, then after that we expand this one and got the equation like what they want. Okay, so this is the equation that we got: f of x is equal to, this is the equation of that parabola graph. Okay, now here you have to write the range of f of x plus 1 minus 1, not the range of this f of x. They want the equation of range of f of x plus 1 minus 1, f of x plus 1 minus 1. Okay, so how can you write that equation? First we can write the equation. Okay, then we can write the range. Okay, so how can you write the equation? When here it is x, here it is x. Okay, so when here it is x plus 1, here also you have to change this one as x plus 1. Okay, x, so when it is x plus 1, you have to write it as x plus 1. Okay, then minus 1, that means you have to write a minus 1 there. Okay, so minus 2 into, instead of this x, I am going to write x plus 1. Okay, then this minus 2 the whole square plus 8, then this minus 1, that minus 1. Okay, so here you can see that instead of this x, I wrote it as x plus 1, and plus 8, that plus 8 is this one, then there is a minus 1 shifted 1 units downwards, that is this minus 1. Okay, now just try to simplify that one. So f of x plus 1, sorry, f of x plus 1 minus 1 is equal to minus 2 into, this is 1 minus 2 is minus 1, so it is x minus 1 the whole square, 8 minus 1 is 7. Now in this equation, so this is the equation of f of x plus 1 minus 1, this one. Okay, so this equation, what is the sign here? Minus 2. So minus 2 means the shape of the graph is like this. Is it not so? When the value of a is negative, shape is like this. When the value of a is positive, shape is like this. You studied in grade 10. Okay, that is why here also the shape is like this, because here it is negative. Okay, now what is this minus 1 7? What we can write from that one? We can write the turning point, is it not so? Okay, so the turning point is here, it is minus 1, that means it is positive 1 and 7, that is a turning point. Opposite sign of this one, minus 1, here it is positive 1, now change here 7, that is a turning point. Okay, now tell me what is now I'm just drawing an example. Okay, I don't know is it like this or the up or down. Okay, I'm just giving, I just want to know the turning point and the y value. Okay, what is the question? You have to find the range. Okay, so now look at the what is the meaning of range? Possible y values. So here what is the maximum y value? Maximum y value here it is 7. So it can't be above 7. If you take 8 or 9 or 10, you can't find any graph here. Am I right? So the maximum y value must be 7 or less than 7. Less than 7, any point you can take. Am I right? Because it is going down like this. Okay, so it means that the range is y is less than or equal to 7. Okay, that means it must be, the value of y must be less than 7, 6, 5, 4 or 3 and 9, minus 1 or minus 2, minus 3, like that. Okay, so the range must be, maximum value is 7, maximum y value, range means y value, maximum y value is 7 or less than 7. It can't be more than 7. If you take more than 7, 8, y as 8, you can't find any graph here. Am I right? Okay, so this is the answer, y less than or equal to 7. Okay, so that is question number 4.1.4. now let's move to 4.1.5. let's move to the next question. 4.1.5, question number 4.1.5. what is that question? Calculate the values of x. So in this question also you have to find the values of x. Okay, and what is the question? Where g of x will be a tangent of f. So now they are saying that this g of x, this straight line g of x is a tangent of f. So f of x is like this. Okay, that graph is it's difficult to understand from. Let me draw that graph again here. Okay, so this is our f of x. Okay, and now they are saying that you have to find the values of x where g of x, our straight line graph, is a tangent of, this is g of x. Okay, this straight line graph is a tangent of f of x, and you have to find the value of x. That means at this point, what is the value of x? What is the value of x here? That is the question. Okay, so look at the question. Calculate the value of x where g of x will be a tangent to f. G of x will be a tangent. You can see that this is a tangent of this f of x, and you have to find the value of x. Okay, what is the equation of g of x? G of x, it's a straight line, and the equation is given 2x plus 4. Am I right? Okay, g of x equation is 2x plus 4. So now what is the gradient of this equation? G of x is equal to 2x plus 4. You know that the gradient is 2. Okay, so the gradient of this, yeah, that straight line, the gradient of this straight line is m is equal to 2. G of x gradient is 2. Am I right? Okay, now how can you find the gradient of this tangent? You know, this is a combination of graphs and calculus section. Okay, so in calculus you have to know, those who didn't study calculus, first you have to know calculus, first you have to study calculus, then only you can do this type of questions. Okay, so in calculus section you studied that how can you find the gradient of this g of x? What is the equation of f of x? F of x is equal to, in that form, the other form, minus 2x square plus 8x. Okay, that is the equation of this f of x, this parabola graph. Okay, so in calculus you studied how can you find the gradient of this tangent. First you have to find the derivative of this f of x graph. What is f of x graph? F of x is equal to minus 2x square plus 8x. This is the equation of f of x graph, this parabola graph. Am I right? Okay, and how can you find, what do you want to find? The gradient of this tangent, the gradient of this straight line. Okay, how can you find in calculus? First you have to find the derivative of this one, that means f dash of x. What is the derivative? 2 times minus 2, that is minus 4 x raised to 1 less than this 2, that is 1. Okay, plus 8x, what is the derivative? It is 8. I am not going to explain that one here, how to find the derivative. Okay, that you will study from calculus section. Okay, so 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, 1 less than this 2, that is 1. 8x derivative is 8. So derivative of this f of x graph is minus 4x plus 8. Okay, and how can you find the gradient of this tangent? What you studied in this derivative, you are supposed to substitute the x value of this point. Do you remember that one? That is how you can find the gradient. Okay, so what you are supposed to do in this derivative, our derivative is minus 4x plus 8. When you substitute the value of x at this particular point, that touching point, when you substitute the x value here of this point, the x value of this point, when you substitute here, you are supposed to get the gradient of this tangent. Okay, but we already know what is the gradient of this straight line. What is the gradient of straight line? 2. So it means that, try to understand like this, after you substitute the x value of this point, you are supposed to get the gradient. But we know that the gradient, we already know the gradient of that straight line is 2. You understand? Okay, because from this equation of g of x is 2x plus 4, so the gradient is 2. So other way, in calculus session, how can you find the gradient of this g of x? First you want to find the derivative of this one, then in that derivative substitute the x value of this point. So this is the derivative, and after we substitute the x value, we are supposed to get the gradient. But we already know that the gradient of that g of x is 2. So now from here, what is x value? Take this 8 to the other side, so it is 2 minus 8. So minus 4x is equal to 2 minus 8 is minus 6. So what is x? Divide both sides with minus 4. So minus 6 divided by minus 4. So x is equal to, simplify this one. This is negative by negative is positive. So it is 3 over 6 by 4 is 3 over 2. So it means that the x value of this tangent is, here it is 3 over 2. Okay. So that is question number 4.1.5. Now let's move to question number 4.2. Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 4.2. What is that question? Given the function h of x is equal to, there is a function given h of x is equal to 2 divided by x minus 2 plus 1. 2 divided by x minus 2 plus 1. And what is the first question? 4.2.1. What is that question? Write down the equation of the asymptotes of h. So what type of graph is this? 2 divided by x minus 2 plus 1 divided by x. That means the variable is in the denominator. So when the variable is in the denominator, it is a hyperbolic function like this. Okay, so what are the asymptotes? Yeah, you already studied when it is minus 2, equation of the asymptotes are x is equal to positive 2 and y is equal to, there is no change in that number, that is 1. So the equations of the asymptotes are x is equal to positive 2 and y is equal to positive 1. Okay, now don't forget that, don't change this plus 1. Okay, here it is plus 1 itself, but you have to change the sign. In case if here it is plus, you have to write here as minus, like that. Okay, next question 4.2.2. what is that question? 4.2.2, determine the equation of the decreasing axis of symmetry of h of x minus 1. Okay, determine the equation of the decreasing axis of symmetry of h of x minus 1. Okay, so let me erase this one. Okay, then I have to draw a rough graph there. Okay, so you know that for a hyperbolic graph, I'm just drawing a rough graph. Okay, so it's not a correct, this is not a graph of this one. Okay, so I'm just drawing a hyperbolic graph here. Assume that this is 2 and this is the asymptote, horizontal asymptote, it is 1. Okay, so now for a hyperbolic graph, let me draw a, this is not the accurate one, so I'm just drawing an example. Okay, for a hyperbolic graph there are two asymptotes. Okay, one asymptote is like this, both the asymptotes, not asymptotes, not the asymptote, axis of symmetry, sorry. Okay, for a hyperbolic graph there are two axes of symmetry. Okay, both the axes of symmetry are passing through the intersecting point of the asymptote. Here you can see that this is the, this is a vertical asymptote and this is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, and I told you there are two axes of symmetry, both the axes of symmetry are passing through the intersecting point of that asymptotes. Okay, so one asymptote is like this and the other asymptote is like this. So here you can see that both the asymptotes are sorry, both the axisymmetries are passing through the intersecting point of the asymptote. Okay, so now this this axis of symmetry, this axis of symmetry is decreasing. Okay, or the gradient, when a straight line is decreasing, the gradient is negative. Okay, so this axis of symmetry is known as axis of symmetry having negative gradient, and we can write the equation generally like this: y is equal, let me write it here, y is equal to minus x plus c, because the gradient is negative, that is why here it is negative. And here you can see that this one is axis of symmetry having positive gradient, or the equation is y is equal to positive x plus c. So there are two axis of symmetry for a hyperbolic function. One is axis of symmetry having negative gradient, general equation is like this, and the other one is axis of symmetry having positive gradient, general equation is like this. Okay, now what is our question? Determine the equation of the decreasing axis of symmetry. Decreasing means this one. Okay, equation of the decreasing axis of symmetry of h of x minus 1. We know only h of x, is it not so? Okay, but we are not supposed to write the axis of symmetry of this h of x. We have to write the axis of symmetry of h of x minus 1. So first of all we have to find what is the equation of h of x minus 1. When it is x, here it is x. When it is x minus 1, there also you have to write x minus 1. Okay, so what is that one? 2 divided by, instead of this x I am going to write x minus 1, then minus 2 plus 1. Okay, so what is the equation of h of x minus 1? H of x minus 1 is 2 divided by minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3, x minus 3 plus 1. Okay, so this is the equation of h of x minus 1. Okay, now here in this graph h of x minus 1, what are the asymptotes? X is equal to positive 3, that means the one asymptote is here, positive 3. This is positive 3. Okay, and the other horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 1. There is no change in that one. Okay, so this is y is equal to 1. This is 1. Okay, so what is this point? That point is x value is 3 and y value is 1. So this point is 3 comma 1, and they want to know the equation of the axis of decreasing axis. Decreasing means like this. Okay, so they want to know the equation of the decreasing, axisymmetry passing through this intersecting point of these asymptotes. Okay, so they want to know the equation of the decreasing axis of symmetry. What is the general equation? Y is equal to minus x plus c. Okay, so we know at this point now what is the x and y value. X value is 3 and y value is 1. Okay, so substitute that point. So now our general equation is y is equal to minus x plus c. Y is equal to minus x plus c. We can substitute this point 3 comma 1. Substitute 3 comma 1. Okay, so now what is that one? Y, that is 1, is equal to minus 3 plus c. So take this minus 3 to this side. So it is 1 plus 3, that is 4, is equal to c. So what is a general equation? Y is equal to minus x plus 4. C value is 4. Okay, so the equation of this axisymmetry having a negative gradient or a decreasing axisymmetry. What is the equation? Y is equal to minus x plus 4. Okay, so that is question number 4.2.2. Now let's move to question number 5. Okay, let's move to question number 5. Given the function f of x is equal to 2 raised to minus x. So there is a function given like this, f of x is equal to 2 raised to minus x. So what type of function is this? X value as an exponent. That means this is an exponential function, or the variable is as an exponent. Okay, so it's an exponential function, and here it is negative. What is the meaning of that? That exponential function is decreasing. That is why here it is negative. Okay, anyway, that is given. 5.1, f of x is equal to 2 raised to minus x. What is the first question? 5.1, determine g, the inverse of f in the form of y is equal to. So you have to find the equation of g of x. G of x means the inverse of this. Normally we are writing f inverse of x, but in this question they are given as another equation g of x. Instead of writing this f inverse of x, in this question they are saying that this one is g of x. That's the only difference. Otherwise it's the same thing, f inverse or d inverse. Okay, so for 5.1, question number 5.1, you have to write the inverse. That means, okay, so first f of x is the same as y. Y is equal to 2 raised to minus x. To find the inverse, what you are supposed to write? You have to swap x and y. So this y becomes x, and this x becomes y. 2 raised to this x I wrote it as y, I wrote it as x. But you can't leave the answer like this. You have to write the answer. Standard form is y is equal to. Am I right? So what you have to write? You have to find the logarithm. Do you remember that one? How can you take the logarithm? Look at this one. This minus y, that power minus y is equal to log of this x, log of that number, then the base is 2. Okay, so look at how can you write the as a logarithm. This minus y, this exponent, you have to write it here. Minus y is equal to log of x to the base 2. Okay, so this is how you can apply the logarithm. Okay, you have to watch, those who doesn't know how to write like this, you have to watch that video lessons. Okay, so still here it is not y is equal to, here it is negative y is equal to. So to avoid this negative, you have to multiply with a negative. So minus into minus is positive, minus into plus is minus log x to the base 2. And they are saying that this one is g of x. Therefore, g of x is equal to minus log x to the base 2. And that is the equation. Okay, so that is a graph. Now the next question, 5.2, is g a function? This g of x, this inverse graph is a function. Give reason for your answer. Okay, so I told you this f of x is 2 raised to minus x. Okay, so let me try to draw that graph there. Assume that this is the x-axis and this one is the y-axis. Okay, so how can you draw the graph here? F of x is equal to 2 raised to minus x, so y is equal to 2 raised to minus x. Am I right? Okay, so to find the y-intercept, at y-intercept, you know that the value of x is 0. So what is that one? Y is equal to 2 raised to minus 0, that is any number raised to 0 is 1. Okay, so what is the coordinate? X value 0, y value is 1. So it is passing through 0 comma 1. And since this is 2 raised to minus x, since here it is minus, the exponential graph is decreasing. That means the exponential graph is like this. And this is, what is this one? F of x. And what is this point? 0 comma 1. Okay, so now g of x, how can you draw g of x graph? You know, g of x means the inverse of that f of x graph. Okay, so inverse means, how can you find inverse? You have to swap x and y values. So one point we know that 0 comma 1. So what about inverse graph? 1 comma 0, you have to swap these x and y. Okay, so it is 1 comma 0 means it is here. This is the point 1 comma 0, and here the graph is decreasing. So here also when you draw the inverse graph, it must be decreasing. How can you draw a decreasing graph? Like this. And this is g of x. That graph is g of x, a decreasing graph. Okay, so now the question is this graph g of x is a function or not? Of course this is a function, because this is a, don't forget that this is a inverse graph. Okay, or I can write it, this is the equation is g of x, or you know that this is f inverse of x. That's the same as they call it as g of x. Okay, so for inverse graph, what you have to write the reason as for a normal f of x graph, if there is a question like this. So let me erase this one. F of x graph. Okay, for an f of x graph like this, how can you say that this one is a function or not? For f of x graph, normal f of x graph, okay, how can you say this is a function? For every x value, only one, this is the y-axis, only one y value. Am I right? If I take wherever one x value here, I am getting only one y value. What is that one? For every x value, only one y value. Am I right? That is for f of x graph. Okay, f inverse means you have to swap x and y. Okay, so how can, what is the reason to say that this one is a function? Then you have to say for every y value you are getting only one x value. Am I right? Okay, so question is, what is a reason, or is f inverse a function? Okay, so what you are supposed to write? For what is the reason you have to write? For every y value, not x value here, because we are talking about g of x is inverse graph. Okay, so for every y value, only one corresponding x value. So for every y value, only one corresponding x value. That is why, before that you have to write yes, g of x is a function. That is very important. Okay, because the first 1 mark is for this yes or no. Okay, so here it is yes, so yes, g of x is a function. Then the second mark is for the reason. For every y value, only one x value. Okay, but here the straight question g of f of x, what we have to write? For every x value. Since that one is an inverse graph, that is why we wrote for every y value, only one x value. Otherwise, for every x value, only one y value. Okay. So that is question number 5.2. Now question number 5.3. What is question number 5.3? Draw a sketch graph of f and g on the same set of axes. We already done that one. Is it not so? We have to draw a sketch graph of f and g. So this is f of x graph 0, 1. Here what is asymptote? What is asymptote, guys? Here this is the f of x graph. So this x-axis is the asymptote. X is equal to, x-axis means y is equal to, here for this f of x graph, the asymptote is y is equal to 0, and for this g of x graph, the asymptote is x is equal to 0. And we have 2 points for both the graph. One is 0, 1, and the other one is 1, 0. That is question number 5.3. We already done that one. Okay. Now next question, 5.4. The graph f is shifted 1 unit to the left. So what is f of x? 5.4. What is f of x? F of x is 2 raised to minus x. Okay. Now they are saying that this graph f is shifted 1 unit to the left direction. So in graph, shifting to the left means it's not minus, it is plus to the x value. Okay. 1 unit to the left means this one is 2 raised to minus x. 1 unit to the left. Normally we are thinking that left it's negative. Okay. But it's not like that in the case of graph. 1 unit to the left means it is plus 1. Okay. Then what? 2 units down, up or down movement here. Okay. Minus 2. Okay. So here, and what is the, determine the equation of h. So this is the new equation, h of x. So h of x is 2 raised to minus x plus 1 minus 2. Plus 1 means 1 unit to the left. Minus 2 means 2 units downwards. Okay. But there, look at that question, last sentence, and write your equation with a positive exponent. So here you can see that the exponent is negative. How can you write this one as positive exponent? Here, look at how I am going to write. This is equal to 2 raised to, I am going to take a minus as common factor. So minus x minus 1 minus 2. Am I right? Minus into x is minus x. Minus into minus 1 is plus 1. Okay. Now 2 raised to minus of something. How can you write this one as positive? If I take that one to the denominator, 2 raised to, then I can avoid this minus. So it is x minus 1 minus 2. Now it's a positive exponent. So how can you write this one little bit neatly? How do I write like this? This 2 raised to minus, I want to avoid this minus. So what must I do? I have to take this one to the denominator. You know, here in small grade 8 you studied the exponential rule. A raised to minus n. How can you write the positive exponent? 1 by a raised to positive n. Same thing here. This is n. X minus 1 is our n. Okay. So a raised to positive n. That means a raised to x minus 1. This is negative n. Like that. Okay. Now 1 raised to any number is same as 1. Okay. So here this one, look at how I am going to write. This is 1 by 2 raised to x minus 1 minus 2. I can write it like this. Because 1 raised to x minus 1 is 1. 2 raised to x minus 1 is 2 raised to x minus 1. Then minus 2. Okay. So the final h of x, we can write it like this. 1 over 2 raised to x minus 1 minus 2. That is a positive exponent. Okay. So guys, that's the end of this question paper, Free State 2020. I hope you understand clearly. Thank you for watching. See you on the next lesson.